So for a number of years we've had the GHD Gold, the S7N261. That is repairable, has some issues, shall we say, when we modify the circuit board on every one of these that comes in. The same goes for the GHD Max. This is the S7N421. The internals are exactly the same as the GHD Gold. It suffers from exactly the same problems and is fully repairable by us. And after a few years they have now updated the GHD Mini. This used to be the MS years and years ago, then the MS4, then the MS5, and now we have this new Mini. I don't know what the model number is yet because I haven't actually opened this. This has just been purchased direct from GHD, so let's have a look. We'll open it up as well just to see if we can expect the same issues as the previous models in the range. This is 100 to 240 volts, so you can use it around the world. So first of all, the model number. This is the S7N151. No idea how they come up with these model numbers, but that's what it is. We are going to plug it in and just check the speed of heating and the temperature that they attain. I mean, it looks exactly the same as the other two versions. We've got the same hinge cap, we've got the same mains cable, moulded plug obviously. We have the correct 5 amp fuse. 3 or 5 is fine in these. And there was a time where they released a lot of irons with 13 amp fuses, and I still see that every time, every day actually, that we get repairs in. Right, let's just see if the operation is exactly the same as before. No, it's not. That would suggest a different circuit board. That is quite slow to come on, so I suspect they have changed the circuit board to eliminate the problems we've had with the normal and the wide plate ones. So let's test this out. Yeah, normal speed of heating up. Let's just give it a bit longer. The tones are exactly the same as the other two models. Temperature I have at the moment is 196, and that is now dropping down. Well, I say it's dropping down. Yeah, it is slowly. Let's just give that a few minutes to settle. It'll be interesting to see what it settles on. Clearly some overshoot to start with. Not a particular problem, but just interesting. Wow, temperature's jumping all over the place. I don't think there's anything wrong with my thermistor. It's the one I use day in, day out. Let's just go on to that again. So at the moment I've got 196 degrees, and then it will suddenly drop down to 194, 192, 190, stable at 190. So a bit hotter than the expected 185 degrees. Let's check the ends. Yeah, 183 at that end. 183, that jumped to 185. Yeah, 185 at the other end, and in the centre, currently 190. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Off is just press and hold. Yeah, it's very similar to the other models. That startup is just a lot slower. So we will now open these up and it's smelly. Smell the heat, there's just a bit of a smell on there. I'm sure that will wear off with use. In this case, these will not be getting used, they will be stripped for this video and then they will be kept for spares. Now, first thing is, how do we get these covers off? I suspect we're going to have to start at this end. It may be that they're clipped in at the front like the wide plate model, so we're going to have to be very careful. We don't want to damage anything. In fact, I suspect we're going to have to use this spudger just like the wide ones. Yeah, very careful. There we go. That should just pull backwards. There is that single clip on there. So if we're taking these apart, we are going to have to be very careful not to damage that. I suspect eventually, with time, when people decide they're going to have a fiddle with their own broken irons, the first thing they're going to do is break this single clip there. So that is going to be an issue in the future, I'm sure. Same the other side, obviously. Now the hinge and spring are the same. We've got black, they were often white, but that's a black one. I can see that these have a programming port in the back here. So let's just get this open and have a look. I think it must be a different, it is in fact a different circuit board, because the programming port on the Golds and the Maxes are at the other end of the board where it's easy to get a programmer on. Yeah, this is a different circuit board. Little silicon piece there. They have decided to go back to the soldered terminals rather than the push fit terminals that have caused some considerable problems. Not so easy to get this board out. Right, there's the board out. Let's just have a look at the cable and socket. I don't suppose that will have changed in any way. Yeah, that is all good. Nothing really of interest on the arms apart from the cutout for that programming port. Right, let's get the parts out of the way. I probably should have photographed these before doing this. I'm going to have to put these back together again, so I'm not going to take them completely apart. So we have some very, very fine wires going to the elements. Very, very fine wires indeed. And we're just going to do a little measurement, see what we get here. It's hot, so it's going to be hard to tell. Yeah, in fact, I'm not going to be able to tell at the temperature. 3 point. Interesting. This is a complete redesign from the other two models. Guess they're hoping for some good reliability. That's interesting. We have a large 6.3 amp surface mount fuse on board here. I wasn't expecting that. A large electrolytic there for the power supply. Looks like the same same cap that causes some issues on other models. But, yeah, very similar layout to the others. Just a bit different. Let's have a look at this chip. Yeah, another STM32 fitted. Yeah, nothing to write home about there. We're going to have to get some measurements off of these elements. Yeah, kind of tempted to open one up, but let's have a look. I suspect they've made these as awkward as possible. Actually, maybe not. Okay, so very thin, fragile mount. We've then got an internal silicon piece, and okay, so this is an interesting arrangement. That element is secured in place with some Kapton tape. We then have a thermal fuse in here, which is the same as is used on the S4C 242s. It's 228 degrees. The element, interestingly, is a 65.1, and there is a thermistor that is attached to the back of it there. So an interesting change from the previous models. The wires have all been crimped. There's definitely some crimps under there, I think. And then they've got that heat shrink tube. The cables are really, really thin. Interesting that they've gone with a much longer cable and reversed the way the wires are coming from the elements. So in the old days they would be coming from this end out, but they've gone for that end. Now I'm wondering whether that is to allow as much wire as possible, to allow a little bit of movement so these wires don't break, because that was a common problem on previous models, the wires breaking. So let's have a look at that little piece of silicon. Now, that's interesting. That piece of silicon has a little bump in it, and that is definitely going over the thermistor. So that's clearly got to be right on correct space. It's even offset slightly, isn't it? Let me have a look at that. Yeah, it's even offset, so very crucial that that goes in the correct position, because if it doesn't, there will be no pressure on that thermistor. Very interesting indeed. There is a little tag on there, and that goes into a cutout on the aluminium of the ceramic plate. These don't seem to be, doesn't seem to matter which way round they go. So yes, now I don't suppose these ceramic plates are the same size as the old MS5s, but well, I'll have a look at that later. Yeah, so there we go. Not too much to discuss really. Obviously they will be under warranty for 2 years. If you happen to be unlucky and damage a mains cable, we will definitely be able to fit a new mains cable for you. We have these in stock, nothing unusual with the mains cable. Reliability, well, we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Yeah, we'll just see. Interesting use of the fuse, as I said there. Don't know why they've done that. Certainly they needed to do something to get the reliability back from the Max and the Gold. So yeah, we'll just get these back together again, and we'll get some photos done for our website, and then probably just strip these for the parts. Again, if somebody treads on one of these and they break an arm, we will obviously have some of these in stock stripped for spares. Now, unfortunately for me, I forgot to put the rubber back in, but it doesn't matter. This is purely for photographic purposes. Obviously, normally we would put all silicone pieces back in there, and we're quite surprised how many companies actually don't do that when they're doing repairs, and when they eventually come into us for repair, we have to fit replacement silicone pieces because they're actually been left out from previous repairer. Right. Okay, let me just wipe that over. Covers back on. practice. Must be really careful, super careful of this. Just slot it in at the front, bring it forward. Gosh, that's really tight. You can see how easy it is to break these. Really. God, that's not nice. That is a particularly unpleasant sensation as you slide that in there and click it into place. It's very much like that end is about to break. Gosh, yeah, I guess once you've repaired a few you'll get used to it, but yeah, not nice. Again, if you tread on these, hinge pins are quite fragile. You will snap the hinge pin and you will snap one of the arms if you're unlucky. So yeah, we are done. Yeah, no, I really don't have too much to say on this newer model. Seems perfectly okay, but time will tell. Certainly seems to overshoot. That's the first heat up. Yeah, now we're so 188, 193, back down to 189, 188, 185 is the target amount. Now it's jumped back up to 193, goes back down again. 188, 190, 192, 193. Yeah, I don't know, the control on this doesn't seem as accurate as other models. Settling down now, 189, 190, just flicking backwards and forwards between that. Could just be takes a few minutes just for the heat to spread out through the ceramic plates. It certainly seems pretty accurate now at 189. Yeah, okay, so yeah, photos next for the website and then complete strip down, and that's it. So yeah, I think you can buy this without too much of a worry. Bit of a funny smell still coming off of that, not noticed that on any new GHDs before. Expect it to burn off. Yeah, operation same as the Gold and Max. 30 minute standby timer. If this has not been used, they will go to standby. Any errors will produce the red flashing LED, and I suspect a squeal will probably induce some errors on this, just to double check that, but that's pretty much the standard on these newer models. So again, S7N151, and yeah, there we go, just first look at that.